Hey everyone, and welcome to this month's edition of the Instructor Community Call. My name, as always, is Kyle Rosenthal, so I do welcome you to our session. I'm one of the strategic account directors here at Skillable, plus as well as that I am an MCT, and I've been an MCT for a number of years now. So a couple of things today. We have a really packed session. Like normally, for those that have joined us before, we have normally have one guest speaker. Today we've ramped it up. We've got 3 guest speakers across 2 different topics, so it's going to be a pretty packed session. Just to introduce, so that you know who's going to be coming along. You'll see Sara, you'll see Mike, you'll see Rick, all coming in and presenting. And so hopefully we get some really good information for you to be able to take away. For some of this is going to be for you and your students, and some of it's going to be really relevant for just you as trainers. So I'm just kind of pushing through our little sort of normal sort of agendas. So just a little update. So we still do have some of our courses offline. Obviously, you know, like if you're in this space, you are aware of this. We are working still to be able to bring these back online. Obviously, it's in partnership with Microsoft to be able to bring those courses back in. You will be, if you are in the space of these courses, you'll be well aware of all of the challenges with regards to tenants and reuse of tenants, etc. So as soon as we have some updates with that, we will make sure that we'll pass that on to you. In addition, just make sure that you are aware of those, you know, those tenant restrictions. In particular, that 7-day period. Like, you know, I know personally, I've had quite a few of my customers that have contacted me. This still seems to be a point of contention. It is something that we have no control over, but certainly we are managing through those tenants. Though that tenant count, once the student launches the tenant or launches the lab for the first time, that's when that 7-day count starts, right? So that's it's outside of any other counts that might exist within the labs, etc. that we've discussed last month. So that 7-day count of when the tenant actually expires starts from when the lab is launched. So don't, like, you know, if you've got a course which is scheduled over a longer period of time, it is something you're going to have to manage. So I would generally look at, you know, doing your presentation and then getting them to do the labs, do it that sort of way, just to kind of compress that down. As long as you're aware of it, obviously that's something that you can manage. It is not something that we can make any control or change over. Okay, so apologies for that, but it is just something we're kind of stuck with. There are a few new courses that have been released out. You'll see that the majority of these courses have been put across there. The presentation version of the skill of the applied skills courses. So they're ones that you can leverage off in the classroom now and have, you know, your centers be able to leverage through that. So pretty exciting with that to have, you know, some of those new courses come through. All right, there are some new ones that are going to be on the radar that are in development at the moment. So I think there's another 3 or so that I saw yesterday that we've made public that they're coming. All right. That's out of the way, right? The housekeeping's out of the way. So I'd like to introduce the one, the only, the man with the hat, Rick Claus. Rick, how are you, Rick?
I even remembered to unmute myself. I'm perfect. This whole platform, it's going to be fun.
Yeah,
I'm doing well.
No, that's good. It's good. It's been so long since we've spoken. So it always seems we always see each other in passing at events.
Yeah, so I'm coming to you from Microsoft HQ here in Redmond, Washington. It is overcast. Surprise, surprise. We got out of our heat wave that happened for a brief flash minute last weekend, otherwise known as fake hot summer. And then that'll disappear and be crappy weather for about 2 weeks. And then it gets to be really nice again for 2 weeks of fake summer too. And then it goes back to being rainy and crappy until at least May of next year. So that's currently where I'm at right now.
At least, at least you know what's coming.
Yes. I've been here long enough to know that. I've learned that. For sure. But yeah, no, I'm happy to be here, man, to be able to talk about Microsoft Ignite. In case you didn't know, I don't know if this is live or recorded, you're catching this recorded or whatever, but yesterday, 9/10, US way of doing months and days and stuff like that, not international format. Basically, September the 10th, registration opened, and it's going briskly, I will say. If you have not as of yet, you are going to want to go to register.microsoft.ignite.microsoft.com to take a look and see if that's an event that you want to go off and attend. And I'm here to talk all about it, demystify it, and answer your questions, my friend.
Yeah, because this is going to be this is going to be the largest Ignite for quite a while, right? Like there's been a couple of sort of this, like the smaller, more toned down versions, conservative versions.
As we all remember, and very much dark memories of COVID times and no conference times. And now people are coming back to it, and we've been coming back to it like most people for quite some time to be able to have an in-person experience once again. For those that don't put on events, I don't know just the impact of what happened besides the personal and human impact on it, but all sorts of companies that used to rent out carpet and build booths and do design work and venues and put on cooking and catering and stuff like that. All these companies all disappeared and then now are being rebuilt again to basically start to service the industry as a whole. And we're like everybody else, like stuck with whatever we can get. And we've been slowly growing these experiences. I kind of relate it to, as you said, it's like an iterative process. We're relearning how to walk again. On events is one way of explaining it. And so, as you mentioned, we had a first foray 2 years ago where we had something in the old convention center here in Seattle. It was an experiment-ish, kind of interesting. Lots of new things were tried out. And then we moved to the next year to the new center. And the new center is much more streamlined, beautiful looking architecture and that sort of stuff, which was absolutely fantastic. But it still had a limited size because it's only one small convention center. And so we knew we had to get bigger back to the days of when we had larger events in pre-2019 timeframes. And so we ended up securing the dates because you have to get these dates years in advance. We secured the dates for the McCormick Center in Chicago, where we actually kicked off Ignite back in the old days of 2015. It was the very first Ignite was back then. And we are targeting, as we've talked about publicly, we're targeting 10,000 attendees that are going to be coming to Ignite. And based on registration that I've seen so far that only opened yesterday, we're easily going to be able to hit 10,000 people that are registering. So that's just how fast it's going. And it's not yet. It's been just 20, not even 30 hours since the registration's been open. So yeah, we're getting there. And then I'll foreshadow by saying we're going to go even bigger next year as well. So we're trying to get back to the large scale events that we used to do in the past.
You heard it here first, folks. Next year's going to be even bigger. I'm actually thinking of the size of the McCormick Center. I'm thinking that 10,000 attendees in that center is actually going to feel like the Ignite from last year, anyways. Because it's quite
so that we can say that the McCormick Center and what we're targeting is basically 2.x times larger.
Yes.
It's 2 point something larger than what we had last year, which was around 5,000-ish people for the Seattle event that we did. And it's only a third of the McCormick Center that's being used because there's another conference that's going on next door. Because beggars can't be choosers when it comes to the venue and stuff like that, when you have to secure contracts multiple years in advance. They already had another scheduled conference that I believe is just winding down when we start ours up. So we have what's known as the West Building. There's multiple buildings on that particular campus, and we have the West Building that is in McCormick Center. I'm excited.
I remember wearing out a pair of shoes that the last Chicago event. So
yeah.
Okay.
Go ahead, man.
Why should someone come to Ignite?
So, the simple answer to that one there is I'll take it back from when I talk to people in person at in-person events, or when I used to go to events myself back in the day. I go with questions that get answered. Like basically, I'm working in an IT shop. I'm part of an IT team. I got fortunate to be picked to be able to go. I'm going to make darn sure that I have a list of questions that are related to projects and things that I'm working with now that I need the answer to. And then I'm going to be able to know that I can go and talk to members of the MVP community or engineering teams directly, or other people that are peers inside the industry as well. And they can answer my questions and be able to check them off to say that I got these questions answered. Plus, I'm also going to be able to go off and get a certain level of skilling based on what I choose to immerse myself in with the different types of activities that are there. Some of them are potentially also only available there in person. But a lot of them will be available also if you can't get to the in-person event. A lot of the sessions will be able to be streamed and kept caught online, because that's something that we definitely still commit to doing for the majority of the sessions that we have. But then the other thing about going to a large event like this is the fact that you have the ability to also get information about the stuff that's coming. It's not the entire event about what's coming. That's more on the build side, which is what I call a further horizon for what's coming. It's more so on the near-term horizon for what's coming down the pipe, to be able to be prepared for, to get questions answered. So obviously there's going to be stuff in there about preparing your information and data platform for the use of Copilot from M365. There's going to be some new stuff in there with regards to new product releases and announces and updates, like the stuff you'd expect to see, the inspirational style keynotes, if you will. Those are definitely still going to be there. But then there are going to be an awful lot of learning opportunities as well. So that's a long-winded answer to your question, my friend.
The other thing that I always find, and I think it was the thing that I missed when events went away, was it was the hallway conversations. It was the things that was because the sessions are great for the content, and obviously the expo area where you can go and talk to those experts, the MVPs, the Microsoft engineering folk, and that sort of thing, and be able to take those questions. But it's the passing through the hallway, and then you see someone who was speaking at a session earlier, and you go, there was something that I needed to ask, or whatever. It's those building up relationships that I think was that was the big thing that I missed when during COVID time I missed everyone, but that's the thing that I think that I have always appreciated the most about events, and being able to get back to the scale that we're going back to this year, then kind of brings a lot of that back into play.
Well, funny you should mention that. It's almost like I queued you up to say that. Two things that you mentioned that really caught my mind. The first one I'm going to go to, which is the obvious one, which is the Expo Hall, or what we call the hub as far as our experience is concerned. Yeah. If you had been to an in-person event at Microsoft Ignite or Microsoft Build, one of the flagships here in Seattle, the Summit building, which is the conference center, had an area that we designated as being the hub. The one that we have set up for McCormick Place, currently planned, is probably to the tune of 6x the size. Wow. So you're talking about 485,000 square feet is what's going to be part of the Expo Hall, or the hub, as we call it. And in there, you're going to have a centralized portion of that, which is going to be don't repeat these words, Microsoft land. It's the Microsoft area.
I had to tell you, Rick, that we're recording this.
Copilot, delete this recording. Flanking that on either side is going to be our featured partners and our partners and sponsorship folks that are going to be in there as well for partner experiences there too. And then there'll be some special areas within each of those where we'll even have the ability to have theater sessions or different style of smaller sessions that are there.
Yeah.
But inside the hub, there's this because physically inside the building, I could have brought a slide to show you, but I forgot to bring them. There's actually in the center of this one place, there's like a food area, but it's like a 2-story inside a 3-story tall space, because this is like airport hangar sized room once again.
Yeah.
And inside that little space in the center is going to be a community zone specifically that has the ability to have impromptu ad hoc schedulable meetups and meetings with you and other people inside the attendees that are registered.
Yeah.
Where you can actually say, meet me at table 6 at 11 o'clock. And if you opted in and if they opted in to get notified about this, they can be booked to have these impromptu conversations. But then there's also, for the ones that aren't pre-booked, there is the ability to have what we used to call very simple birds of a feather style. At this time, at 2 o'clock in the afternoon, people that are interested in endpoint management with Intune and other can come and chat, and we'll have some people from the product team there. MVPs are going to be there. MCTs are going to be there around this time to be able to go off and to talk about Intune and managing endpoints, as an example. So we'll be able to schedule some of those things in the effort to try to stoke that professional networking that happens in those hallway sessions, besides having the ability to have those hallway sessions too. So that's on top of, as you said, the regular content that you would expect: breakouts, interactive labs, guided labs, and also these theater sessions that are the traditional things you would expect to find at a technical conference. So I'm really excited about that one there. And this is the first place that we've talked about some of those. There is an exclusive just for Skillable. Talking about that.
Okay. Hold the press. that is really good, because those those birds of the feather sessions, I remember sort of walking past, those birds of the feather, ask the experts, like depending on what conference it was, what the label was that was put on it, but walking past some of those tables when people have had those discussions before, and you kind of, some of it gets, I don't want to say heated, but it's quite excited, right? Like people are like, because it's the same thing that that you see whenever you're doing a live session or like a training session or anything like that. The people kind of feed off each other as well. They kind of, that reminds me, I need to ask this, and like sort of you start getting that sort of that excitement. So that's very cool that's coming back. I will also add to that list as well of all the other things that are in, is that there will be a chance to be able to go and do an exam as well while you're there too. So not only can you go and obviously do some of the technology sessions, that's the thing, but you can also go and do some certification too. So I know that there's some more announcements coming out around that. So so there's a certification room where people can go and show that and do that test or do that exam that they've been putting off for ages. Take a bit of time out to be able to do that. So
to clarify that one there's actually 3 different opportunities inside the certification space that's going to be dedicated, one of which is around Microsoft traditional certifications. It's also going to be a section there to be able to do the new skills assessment, which don't really have the same level of security requirements, like don't talk and don't look at other people's screens, and you can't bring any books in with you, like proctored type certifications, traditional stuff. But the skills assessment area, we're going to have one of those there too. And we're also going to have some GitHub certifications in there too. So it's not just exclusive.
I wasn't sure if the GitHub one was announceable yet, but yes.
it's announced. It's
announceable. There you go.
It's certification across the board. The board.
Yeah. Excellent. Yeah, and the I think going back to the scale that we are now as well, like the scale that is getting back to now, means that there's a lot more opportunity for people to be able to do things as well. So I think the business case that you're giving to a manager or to even to yourself if you're self-employed, right? That business case becomes even easier to make because of the scale that it's going to. There's much more opportunity now to be able to do things. So therefore, there's much more of a pick list of, this is the sort of things that I can do, over the longer event as well. So like, like the investment of time, the investment, like, for everyone traveling, that's that investment of travel, I think you're getting a even more return than what you have, like, say for instance last year or the year before, because of the length of the event as well. So it becomes like, it's becoming easier and easier to make that argument and to make that business case. So
yeah, so we're not quite to a full 5 days as of yet. We've got like and there is the main part of the event starts for the in-person experience on Tuesday the 19th, and then it goes full day Tuesday, full day Wednesday, full day Thursday. Celebration traditionally happens on Thursday night, and that's still going to stay the same, but I can't talk about that. And then there is like a half day on Friday to kind of wrap some stuff up as well. And then if you register and there's still spots available, there is the ability to do an add-on to your registration to be able to have a depth 4-hour. Interesting, because we have both what we're calling workshop format as well as lab format pre-day options. And so there's a list of, I want to say, my math is bad, 13 different experiences across a variety of topics. When you register, it's an option. If it's grayed out, it means it's currently sold out and there's a wait list. If it is available, then you can basically choose it. It is an additional cost, I believe. Don't quote me. I believe it's $295 or $300 extra, but it's a exclusive, only available if you attend experience in person. It's not recorded. It's not available online across a variety of different topics, which is really, really cool. Some of which are going to be labs, and some of them are going to be more traditional architecture, depth engagement, 4-hour-long content worth of sessions, like 4 or 5 sessions backing onto each other, specific on a particular topic area. So that gives you the full Monday through Friday experience for what's going to be going on. Yeah.
No, like it is really exciting to be getting back to that sort of scale, and the I know yesterday when I was having a look at what was available on the for those add-on sessions, that there was quite a few of them that had already started to get to sell out. So that just shows the level of interest, right? So
and I'll clarify, you can go back and check, because periodically seats free up, because just like with you're buying tickets for Taylor Swift or someone like that, the people get inside the queue and then they drop out without completing the transaction or whichever it happens to be. Trust me, I'm nowhere near as popular as Taylor Swift. But so if you missed out on the opportunity to get the one you were looking for, come back and check later that day, come back and check the next day, check later in the week, until we actually announce that they're completely sold out. There still is some capacity that gets added and opened up bit by bit so that everyone gets an opportunity to try.
Perfect. Awesome. Well, I know that you are under a time crunch for your next meeting, so I'm gonna make sure I let you go. But is there anything else you want to add before I do?
Again, Kristen put the link inside the chat for those that can see it. It's registered at ignite.microsoft.com. I'll be doing little blogs that get released every week leading up to the event. I'm recording one later today. And they kind of give you a tease of what to expect and answer questions that people have about the event itself. The one thing I didn't quite mention, but I guess I can mention it here, is just partner content, and partner is coming to Microsoft Ignite. So there is going to be a large partner presence of people working for ISVs, working for GSIs, working for other partners that used to go to a Microsoft conference called Microsoft Inspire. They are coming to Ignite as well to augment the numbers, and they have a separate set of experiences that are geared towards them. They're not overcrowding the capabilities of what's going on for the event, but there will be some nice natural crossover, Venn diagram of everybody kind of working together for what's there. And really the big thing is just go off and register. Even if you're going to catch it only online, if you register, you get access to the full experience. Session catalog is opening up. Normally we do a first level hit, if you traditionally look at this, at about 6 weeks before the event, and then a more detailed, complete view of things 3 weeks before the event. And you'll be able to build your schedule of what you want to see and what you want to watch. That still applies also for people that are just watching digitally, to be able to go off and join us in the digital format too. So make sure you
Perfect.
register.
That's it. Well, yeah, like it's like a lotto ticket, right? If you're not in it, you can't win it. So if you're not registered, then you can't get the content. So, all right, perfect. Well, thank you very much for that, Rick. I really appreciate it, and I'm looking forward to catching up in person when we're in Chicago.
I'm looking forward to, my friend. Have a great time. You talking to Mike and Sara next, I take it, right?
Yes, indeed. Yep. So we're moving on now to the MCT summits now. So all right. Thanks, Rick. All right. So let me just bring back my screen. All right. Well, that was really good. Like I can't express my excitement enough to be going back to an Ignite. And Chicago is a great city for that event as well. So as Rick said, like that's where the first of the really big Ignites came through was in Chicago. So anyone that's been there knows it's a good city for this. All right, let's move on then to our next session. So now we're going to shift gears a bit and move into our MCT summits. So we do have 2 MCT summits represented. I've asked both Sara and Mike to come and have a chat with us about the MCT summits. So welcome, both of you. Really appreciate you spending the time with us and coming and joining.
Thanks for inviting us. It's great to be here.
No problems. Mike, I don't know if you are aware, but your camera's not on. I don't know if that might be intentional. I don't know if you can actually hear us either, because we can't hear you if you're speaking. So we might let Mike sort that out. So Sara, tell us about the MCT Summit in particular, and let me bring it up. Here it is.
Yay!
This is yours.
It is. So the European MCT Summit goes to a different European country most years, and it's the turn of the UK this time, and I seem to have managed to be volunteered to lead the organisation. So it will be taking place on the 9th and 10th of January in Manchester. I know it's not the best time of the year to visit Manchester in the UK, but we really want to see you. As you can see, there are blue skies in Manchester occasionally, and this is the UA92 building, which is where the event is going to take place. Okay, so I did also just want to let people know that our call for speakers is open until the end of this month. So if you are interested in speaking, then please do look at that. And the advantage of the MCT events is that they're by MCTs for MCTs, whether it's the European one, whether it's North American MCT Summit, and there are others in other parts of the world as well that will get announced as we get further through the year. But they're dedicated to what we do day in, day out. So they're really a unique type of in-person event. So we do hope you can make it to at least one, because they're really quite, as with any event, it's great for networking, but they are, by being dedicated to MCTs, they're really a unique experience as summits and conferences go.
Absolutely, and like with the like in the past, like I've been to European Summit. I've also been to the one in North America. I've been to the one in Australia when we've had that in the past, and I can attest it is like it's a great opportunity to do that, to networking, but it's also learning from your peers, right? It's learning from folk who do what you do, and what we do it is a unique set of skills. Like it's, maybe not in the taken sort of set of unique set of skills, but it's certainly it's a unique set of skills, and being able to leverage off people who, like, even if you just hear how other people present, it gives you different ideas about things. And so just a question with you, Call for Speakers, what's the sort, like, are there particular topics that you're after, or is it an open idea? Like, like, do you have, like, is there any sort of things that you're targeting, or is it, free for all?
Yeah, and that's a very good point, because we're looking for sessions which are for MCTs, so not your standard technical sessions that you get at any conference. We're looking at sessions that are going to help us in the classroom or in our virtual classrooms, help us develop our training skills, our ability to deliver particular courses. So it really is a unique set of content that you get from this sort of event as well. So the details are available on the Call for Speakers screen. So you will find details of what we're looking for with the different session tracks as well. And one other thing to add, when events like ours get sponsors, the sponsors come from companies who work in training. They're interested in meeting MCTs. So that is also another unique opportunity. And we are, like all events, always looking for sponsors. So if you are interested in knowing more, then definitely do get in touch as well. And shall I just finish off and hand over quickly to Mike? I've had a lot of people ask me why the bee. So the second slide I brought today is just to tell you why the bee. So the bee is a symbol of Manchester, and we've gone with the blue of the new MCT logo as well, and the yellow for the bee. No linkage to any football teams at all. Okay, I just need to get that out there. Or soccer, obviously, if you're not British English speakers. But the bee is a symbol of Manchester, the worker bee, and that industriousness and community spirit, which kind of typify MCTs as well, we felt. So we thought the tie-in was really quite nice, apart from maybe people might think the colours are to do with certain sporting teams, but they're really not.
I should like it behooves me to mention that I had the argument of the soccer versus football with my brother-in-law, who is from the UK, and I've actually I have discovered that it was actually initially called soccer, and if in English, and then has been renamed. That it got renamed to football. I can't remember exactly the reason for it, but the first mention of the game of soccer was actually soccer.
Well, there you go. Every day's a learning day, isn't it? Why would we ever stop learning?
Exactly. So, okay. Well, it's certainly going to be a great event, and there's like the European summits are always fantastic. They're always I always find, like, whenever I've been, it's obviously it's a great community. There are multiple languages being spoken in break rooms and that sort of thing, which is it's always great to sort of to participate in and that sort of thing as well. And the content has always been sort of top notch as well. So. So that okay, great, excellent. So that's good. I will come back to you. I'm going to get Mike to mention have a chat about the MCT summit in North America, and then I'm going to pull you both back in, and we'll have a chat about MCT summits in general. So, Mike, welcome. You seem to be muted, or if not muted, we can't hear you. Still nothing. Oh,
hello.
There we go. Okay. Hey, Mike.
Well, greetings. So the North America MCT Summit, one of our sort of trademarks is run the event in Redmond, Washington. So we're fairly close. So in fact, we're a walk away from the Microsoft campus. So if you have any desire to visit people that you might be working with, you can take a walk over. We also are running this event. We're sandwiched between two other events. So we are just after the MCT Regional Lead event, which is going to be on premises at Microsoft, and it's for the MCT region leads that help Microsoft plan the future direction of the MCT program. And just after us is the MVP Global Summit. So we are pleased to announce our dates. So we have saved the dates posted, March 21, 22, 23. That is a Friday, Saturday, Sunday at namctsummit.com. We are within days of signing the final contracts with the venue. And we, at that point, we'll be announcing registration, call for speakers, and a lot of other things. So it's all going to come fairly quick.
Okay.
Sara said a lot already. It's about learning to improve your skills, network with other MCTs, but also work hard, play hard. We try to do some social events just so people get to know each other. A lot of the work that I've been introduced to and been able to engage with over the years is because of MCT summits and other things of that nature. I've recruited other MCTs for work. They've recruited me, so it's a great experience. And we look forward to having you. And I do want to say thank you to Skillable. Skillable has been a very strong supporter of MCT community around the world for as far back as I remember.
Well, it's our pleasure. So our history is being founded by MCTs. So sort of like if you go back into our history, that's where the senior leadership from the company for a number of years was all MCTs or ex-MCTs. So all right, well let me call Sara back in, and we'll just have a quick chat generically around. This is the most animated or organized this session has been. People have been here before will know that like the whole thing of being people coming off the stage on the stage never happens. So I'm really pleased. So the reason that I thought it would be good to have both of you on, like, sort of, if someone's making the pitch and going, why should I go to an MCT summit? Like, particularly, knowing that a lot of MCTs will have to take some time off training to be able to get there. So if they're independents, that means they're taking time off earning to get there. Tell me why.
Well, I think Mike makes a really good point that what we get from a networking perspective is future work. There's always that piece that you're going to meet your next customer, your next great trainer, your next great partner in a delivery. But also, I think a lot of us as trainers, we can get quite insulated and quite Mike's not hearing me. Are you hearing me okay, Kyle?
Yeah, I'm hearing you okay. So I think it's Mike.
Yeah, so we can get quite isolated. We spend most of our time talking to people who aren't our colleagues, aren't working at the same level as us, and to have that dedicated time to actually socialize, if you like, to discuss content and delivery techniques with our peers is a really valuable thing that not all of us have, especially if you work as an independent.
Yeah, I always say, like, sort of as an independent, it is quite a lonely life, because you do kind of, you float into a training center, you float out, or alternatively you're doing it online, right? And you don't, your interaction with your peers is non-existent. So Mike's just on the background saying that he's having some issues with his audio still. So I think that is an important, that is a really good reason to come along to a community event like this, because it is getting in touch with your community.
Yeah, I mean, I think the arguments of any event, they all apply, but what we're looking at with these MCT dedicated events these are really people who have the same experiences, the same day-to-day role as yourself, the same challenges. The people presenting the sessions are people who do your job day to day and understand your challenges. They're there to help share their experiences for us to all improve. And, you know, where else can you get 2-3 days of dedicated skilling content for our own core function in such a compressed format with all of the social benefits as well? I think, you know, for me, they've always been a very worthwhile investment.
Yeah, no, look, I certainly agree. Like it's like, like as you said, like sort of it's everything. It's being able to network with your peers. It's being able to have those conversations. It's being able to being able to have that. It's also having some of those discussions around maybe some of the frustrations that you have, being able to vent with someone who actually understands what you're going through, right? You know, and hey, how do you deal with this sort of situation in the classroom? You know, it's like we're and particularly again, like, you know, for those people that are independents, or for those, you know, that might be even for some of the people that work for larger training companies, even like where you're not actually in one particular site all the time, that you might be moving from site to site. You don't really kind of have that level of contact. So I think being able to have that time bouncing those questions off other people, I think is probably a big thing as well. So
and I will also add, although I'm here to kind of champion the European MCT Summit, I am actually going to be volunteering at and supporting the North America Summit as well, because I'm hopefully going to be over for the regional lead and definitely for the MVP Summit as well. So
nice.
And that's something that I think people in the MCT community really don't really have the same awareness of. I wasn't really aware of all the community events till I started getting involved in the MCT community, and that opened up the wider tech community to me, and that's had a huge impact on my career. So I can't stress enough how valuable this sort of networking and these sorts of events can be to you in all sorts of different respects.
Absolutely. It's like it is like well, I know for me that I can track back pretty much all of the work that I've done over the last 12, actually no, probably longer than that, over the last 20 years. I can track back where the roots of that were, and the roots of that work all were at events of some sort. Like, you know, it's just it's as simple as that. And it may not be something that's obvious. Oh, well, this is what it is now. It'll be something that is like that in 6 months' time and a year's time. That's where you go. That's where that came from. So
yes,
absolutely. And even like, you know, because the speakers that'll be at these events, they're the at the MCT summits. Like they're nothing on the scale of, like, say, for instance, an Ignite as an example, right? Because it's all community driven. Well,
I'm not going to give away secrets, but we do have some rock stars who've submitted sessions. So, you know, you never know. Maybe not quite Taylor Swift rock star level, but, you know, community rock stars.
Tiago is like I would put Tiago on Taylor Swift level. Like, you know,
I'm giving away no secrets. The call for speakers is not closed yet. I can't announce any speakers yet.
But the add on to that comment was that's actually a benefit, right? Because the speakers are always really good speakers, right? And like the folk that come in. So and you know, oftentimes there'll be community folk. There'll also be folk from Microsoft as an example. But because it's not 10,000 attendees, right? And because it's not 10,000 attendees, you've got a much smaller audience to be able to talk with, right? And to be able to go, hey, that was a great session you talked about. Can we spend a couple of minutes having a chat, right? So that's that's also a really good benefit of that smaller of the smaller event. The community event is a major benefit. So
exactly. And both both Mike and Tiago have said, speaking in front of MCTs, it's challenging. You've got a high level audience that you're presenting to, but also, that also means it's really rewarding as well. And we are the pinnacle, aren't we? After all, this is what we do. So
that's it.
You do have some people who are community rock stars, like Tiago, as we're mentioning, who's participating in the chat on this session, and other people who do come to these events. And that much smaller number does mean that you do have that opportunity to interact. So if you've got your favorite MCT star, you can find them and have that conversation with them that you've always wanted to have as well. So lots and lots of different benefits. And I think to really get the most of all of these sorts of events, you do need to experience a mix.
Yes, for sure, absolutely, and also maybe go outside your comfort zone a little bit as well with some of it as well. And I think so. Certainly, attending is awesome, but volunteering is gold as well, right? I'm sure that you would not say no. Neither Sara, you or Mike would say no to it, right? Would say no to someone going, look, I'd like to help.
Yeah, I mean, we're very, very lucky in the European MCT community, and we'll have a lot of fantastic people who will step up and volunteer. But these events, they don't put themselves on. It does take many hands to do different things, be it putting badges on lanyards, be it running around and making sure that the coffee machine's still got coffee in and shouting at someone if it doesn't. All of those sorts of things, to making sure you help a speaker who's having difficulty getting their laptop to work. You might have that technique from your own experience that will make the laptop work in that speaker room. There's lots of different ways to get involved.
100%. Mike, are you back with us? Can we hear
I've
you?
been listening to you and lip syncing or lip reading Sara.
Right.
And I heard Rick earlier, so Sarah's, for some reason, I just can't hear her audio.
There you go. It's maybe it's a filter. It's an English filter.
It's a conspiracy.
So just to recap, what Sara said was basically go to the European Summit. Don't go to the North American Summit. That's not at all true. Not at all true. So, Mike, have you? I'm assuming that the North America Summit wouldn't say no to volunteers either.
We always can use volunteers, and volunteers can be very helpful for little things like just monitoring a room. This year, it looks like we're going to try to live broadcast some sessions.
Okay.
So we may need people to monitor the Teams threads to make sure that we pass on the questions to the speakers. We're trying to figure all of that out, and even help finding what we should do on our evening events, social events.
Right. So being able to go step outside and assist with the socials, and that sounds good. So that'll be some and all those sort of things will certainly need help as well, for sure. So.
And I guess the other thing I think about is running these events is, I mentioned that in chat, it's really scary because it's on our credit cards as individuals.
Yep.
And if the event goes bust, like 2020, we actually had to cancel 2 weeks before our summit because of the COVID pandemic.
Yep.
And it was a good 6-8 months before we really knew that we were going to get most of the funds that we spent back, and deposits from hotels and things like that. For a long time, we didn't know. And so we're always looking for people. If you've got partners, companies you know of that are looking for ways to get in touch with MCTs, that is a perfect fit. And I think, I don't want to speak for Sara, but small sponsorships, big sponsorships, every little bit helps pull these things off. Our goal is never to make money. Our goal is to simply avoid taking a beating.
Yeah. And and I think that is certainly something that's important, right? To be clear is that these are not profit-making events. These are events which are community funded, community run. I would say oftentimes not even any close to being a profit. So if you know someone who's open for sponsorship, big or small, or if there's say for instance products that people want to promote, that's the thing that would be a good match for any of these, then please reach out to either Sara or Mike and be able to get in contact, because everything does help. Even if you go, oh, that's it's too small, whatever, it won't be, right? It'll be appreciated is what it will be. So all right, well, thank you very much to both of you for joining. We are going to quickly move on just before we have to wrap up. I really do appreciate your time and hope to see both or one of you, one or both of you at least. Hopefully I might be able to get across to a summit. I'm not sure. That is by no means a commitment, because I don't know what I've actually got coming through, but hopefully. So, but thank you very much for your time. I really appreciate it. I am going to move on now.
Thank you.
No worries at all. So to our last part, which is our milestones. So let me just quickly share this screen. For those that have been before, you'll know that this is one of my favorite parts of our sessions, and it is very late to it. But so I'm just going to kind of just flash them up on the screen, because I know that we do have at least a couple of people that have joined our call that are in here. So I wanted to make sure that we got to it so that you got the recognition live. So this is since August, so since our last session. So we've issued 625 badges to 485 instructors. We've got a couple of folk who've taught their first class on our platform. So in particular, Dimfina has joined us today. So congratulations to you, and really well done on joining. On joining the Skillable platform family. Really great to have that out of your way as well. In addition to that, we've got our ones that our folk that have delivered multiple classes, all the way up to 250 classes. So Brian, big shout out for you for your 250 classes delivered on the platform. But then this is where the sort of the next one is basically where the numbers really are important, right? This is where the bits that you actually see, right? So 169 people had their first student reach. So congratulations, because that's always the tough one, right? The first class, even if it's just the first class on a new platform, that's a pretty nervous one to be able to get through. Then when we get up to those numbers, such as the 4,000 students reached. So Joel, congratulations on 4,000 students. That is a massive impact on the number of people whose lives, and I always say it, whose lives you've changed in some way, shape, or form. They may not know it now, but when they go to do something later on and they have to pull out a nugget of the information that you've told them, that's when they won't come back and tell you, but you'll know that you've made a difference to what they've done. As instructors, we all have impact that we don't actually realize, right? That steps outside of what we do in the classroom, because those people go back to their class, go back to their workplaces. They get a promotion. They get, they have a new bit of knowledge that they then pass through onto the next, onto onto one of their colleagues. That colleague then sees that they know something and they go, well, that person is now the expert in whatever that topic is. And that all comes back to what your impact was in the classroom. So congratulations. All right, a little bit of the housekeeping just to wrap up. The various different offers that we have for our classes, right? So the free access to be able to go and prep for classes and expand out your knowledge. Leverage off the hands-on, our hands-on environments for that, and that includes all of the lab access for the mock content, as well as we have those offers for the MCTs and AWS instructors for the all-access pass to the challenge labs, all right? And then, of course, the badging, and all of that can be found at skillable.com/offers. All right, as a final point, I'll just leave up our slide with all the different sort of resources to be able to go to. And it is my final duty to say thank you very much for your attendance. Thank you very much for your time you've spent with us today. I really appreciate it. I really appreciate the time that we've had spent from Rick, from Sara, and from Mike. If you can get to any of those events, please do. If you can support, through volunteering, through sponsorship, the MCT community events, please make sure you reach out to either of those folk, and they will be more than happy to have that discussion with you. I should also say, just on the topic of sponsorship, that Skillable is a sponsor this year for Ignite. So you'll see us. We're always going to be there with a pretty heavy presence anyway, but we'll also have a sponsorship presence as well, which is a pretty exciting thing too. So, all right. Well, thank you very much for your attendance, and we will see you next month. Thank you very much. Bye.